talk about that. Let's raise a little awareness of what single shaming is and how we handle it, both if it happens to us or, understanding what we might be doing to somebody else.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us on Second Act TV. Today I'm so happy to welcome back Geraldine Brown Giomblanco, the author of Geraldina and the Compass Rose. Geraldine, welcome back to Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silka. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so glad to have you back. I always have so much fun talking with you. There's a topic that I want to discuss with you today, something that you are a bit of an expert on, and that is the concept of single shaming. Something that actually there's research on this currently, that since the pandemic, single shaming has gone way up. It's reported more and more often. And just by definition, it's making somebody feel bad because they're single. Sometimes intentionally, but more often than not, it's unintentional. So, Geraldine, let's talk about that. Let's raise a little awareness of what single shaming is and how we handle it, both if it happens to us or, understanding what we might be doing to somebody else. So I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you, Silka. It's great to be back. And, in my book, I do talk about it unintentionally that, I think it starts when you're in your early years of looking for that partner, right? And so it comes unintentionally from my family. They're always wishing the best for you. They want you to be happy. And I guess they equate happiness with getting married and having children. So that was more generational. If any young women are listening to this, they can completely relate. And all of us that have over 50 can relate. That probably had happened at one point in time. So I think it's like, it's situational. It's you can get it from your friends, you can get it from your family, from strangers on the street, and also from the people that you work with. So I kind of wanted to break it down and give you a few examples of how it happened for me. Some of them are really funny, and some of them kind of made me feel badly. But I think going to your viewers and stuff, we shouldn't feel bad that we were single for all that time. For me, it was 30 years. I started at 20, I ended at 50. I mean, the funniest ones for me was when I was talking to strangers, really.
I want to just give some examples, and I know you have some too, of what we mean by single shaming phrases that I'm talking to our viewers now, that I know I have done, not intentionally, but have. So maybe start thinking about that. Are you guilty of this? Like one, that you'll find someone soon, if you're saying that to your friend. Or
I've gotten that one. That's mostly family, because I'm going to the weddings and the christenings and the birthday parties, and everybody's saying, who's Geraldine? Like, it becomes like a conversation. Oh, who's Geraldine going to bring to this one? Like, then I finally, by the time I was like 40, I'm like, I'm not bringing anybody. I'm not going to tell you anything anymore. And by the way, don't ask. I'm coming to see the family. So you get a little defensive, you kind of put up your dukes a little bit to say, there is nothing wrong with me. But if you're not secure with yourself, there's that caution, it could really bring you down.
Even something as innocent as, are you seeing anyone special? Or,
Right.
I can't believe you haven't gotten snapped up yet. Or, all things that are meant maybe, to be complimentary, but they're just the opposite. And especially at times like the holidays, birthdays, weddings, friends you haven't seen in a long time, heaven forbid a high school reunion.
Oh my God.
These
True.
things just come, slapping you in the face. And it can be hurtful, especially if you are looking for someone and wished you were, partnered.
When I was on vacation, I have a very funny story. I was away in Mexico. I went by myself, and I was in a very nice, beautiful place. It was like a 5-star, all-inclusive resort. And there was this lowly old drunken Texan who was pretty intrigued by me because I didn't realize, I think I booked a honeymoon place. And so over time, I was there for like 10 days. Over time, the maitre d', the staff, everybody was like, why is this girl here by herself? So it ended up at dinner This man couldn't hold himself back anymore. And he shouts across the restaurant, "What did you do to your husband?" And I thought, oh, I was mortified more for him than I was for myself. And I just looked at him and I said, "I haven't met him yet." And that was when the light bulb went on in my head saying, yeah, what's wrong with that? I haven't met him yet. So that kind of became my mantra, and it shooed them out of the way.
That's
So,
so funny. That is so
yeah.
funny. And what a great way to handle it. And we talked about that, is that the best way to handle it is, to just nip it in the butt. Don't get angry about it. Don't just steer the conversation the different way, or have such a great answer like what you said, your mantra.
Another situation was with my friends. My friends, they don't mean to shame you, but they're having these parties and they really love you and they want you there. But it's couples. I'm okay with that. I can go show up to a party and there's couples. I know how to manage myself in that environment. So this was one I think you'd like. You're too picky. And I was like, too picky? I think not. I think it's like I'm looking for the person who's going to be my mate, my match for life, not just so that I can tell somebody I'm married. That was never my goal.
Yeah.
It was,
What I'm interested in hearing too, both from you and then our viewers, is, how are you at this age? And we're talking, the post 50 gang here. How are you experiencing it, and how are you handling it? Is it still something that bothers you? Has it ever bothered you? And how is it different? Because in a lot of what's written about single shaming is, about, again, younger people. Everything's always about the young. I'm young shaming. But how is it when we're older? We're almost, instead of perhaps getting attention and having people say things like that, it's almost sometimes as though you're becoming invisible, especially when they can identify with your situation.
I get a lot from the people that have read my book. They were so grateful that I brought hope and inspiration, because when I tell them I was single till I was 50, and I have to tell you, maybe 9 out of 10 times, because I usually hand over my bookmark and they see I believe in love, and you can see their eyes light up and they're like, I believe in love too. And I'm like, don't give up, because you need to stick to that, your intuition, knowing when it's right, when it's not right, and stand tall. There's nothing wrong with being single. And then they'll say these words, oh, there's hope for me. And that's really my end to say, I have a chapter in the book and it's called I'm Solo. I'm solo. And it's when I go to the wedding. I really didn't want to go to this wedding. And my mom's like, well, maybe this is, single shaming. Maybe you'll meet somebody. So she's like pushing me out the door, because it was my girlfriend at her prime meeting a great guy, and they get married. And, here comes the the best man. I'm sitting at a table and it says Geraldine and guest. And I had called my girlfriend earlier saying, I'm not going to bring that person. I broke up with him. He's not coming to the wedding. I didn't want her to have to pay for his plate. And then here comes the best man. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he puts his arms behind me and he's looking at my name tag, Geraldine and guest. And he's looking at this dorky guy. I was in the misfit table, where there are people, the single shame people, I guess, were sitting all at this table. And this man, who was very nice looking, puts his arms behind me and I go, I'm solo. That's what came out of my mouth, because I didn't want him to think that I was associated with this group of people. And so you kind of feel like you have to respond. And I think that's, for your viewers too, that are single and hopeful that they're going to meet someone, sometimes stuff come out of our mouth that we don't really mean, because we're caught off guard.
Right.
And that's why I came up with these few mantras to prepare me mentally. It's almost like your subconscious coming out saying, hey, I don't deserve that comment.
Yeah, what it is also about the situation is that even if you're perfectly fine being single, and a lot of people are, especially at our age, it's like, we've had it. I don't want it. It's good. We're happy, but you're thrown into situations where you have to deal with this, sidestep it. You have to manage this. And
yeah, or you might miss out on invites because people don't want you, the single person there. And, thank goodness I had some really good friends that didn't think that way. They included me as well. But my work associates, that's a whole different ballgame, because they are gossipers. They want to know what's going on, and it's something to talk about. There was a situation where my boss, I left her a message. I have some great idea and I want to share with her. I'm like, call me back. I have this great idea. When she called me back, she's like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm not married. I'm not pregnant. I'm not this and I'm not that. What is wrong with you? I was like, so it just made me think that it's top of mind that these people are really curious more than anything. And it's something to talk about in some cases. Don't be a victim of like somebody else's gossip, you know. Maybe.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing that I really, with this channel too, I like to bring up is just remove a lot of this societal pressure, these expectations that are placed on us as we age, it's unnecessary. So many things have changed. I am all in for marriage. I think for people who want it. I personally don't. I don't want to get married again. I'm in a relationship, happened almost 10 years. But there are things that I think at this stage in life and at this time in history, marriage, you don't have to get married for the reasons that we did 50 years ago. And so it is perfectly fine to be single. And there are people who are perfectly fine single.
Absolutely. I think that was the twist of my story. That's where the climax kicks in the other way. At 49, I realized, wait a minute, I just want peace in my heart. It doesn't mean, I'm a faithful girl, so I'm praying for this. If I'm going to be single, hey, listen, here's my list. I had 50 things I wanted in that person. I really thought about it. And if that wasn't going to happen, I was going to be okay with that. Then my whole story is that Mark shows up, and everything is just amazing. The love story part of it is so great. However, I really was happy. And I think that is the trigger that connected Mark and I as well, because I was so happy as a single girl, and I would have these quote dates with myself, and I picked out the favorite restaurant, and I ate what I wanted to eat, and I read my books, and I went to the movies, and I visited people, and I went on vacation. I did not stop as, woe is me. I didn't. My world did not stop. And that energy was very attractive for Mark. I mean, when he met me, that came through, that she was content with herself and she didn't have to be. So fast forward, if Mark was never to happen, I'm sure I would be out there looking, maybe, hopeful, but that wasn't the main goal anymore.
Yeah.
Being happy as a human being by myself was the number one.
Yeah.
And then the rest,
Well, it's something we could talk about forever. We're starting
Yep.
to come to the end. We have a few more minutes left. I think it's a really important topic because it does mess with a lot of people, that especially during emotional times or sentimental times. And I think we need a little bit more awareness around that. And also people, if you find yourself saying things, oh, I can set you up with somebody, or,
Right.
oh, aren't you lonely? Gosh, I feel so sorry for anybody that is, was lonely or alone during the
I
pandemic.
think of the horrible bowling dates, it's like, oh, come bowling with them. Oh gosh, I can make you laugh.
Yeah.
Some of them.
So that's important to me, that we really think about that a little bit before you do. You might just step on somebody's feelings. Geraldine, as always, I'd like to have you give us your last words on this topic.
Okay, so I was thinking about it. And number one, have that mantra ready, because I think it's really important. And put yourself in those different scenarios. What are you going to say to the friend? Are you coming to the wedding? Are you bringing anybody? Right? Be ready to say, you know what? No, I'm not bringing anybody. I'd love to just be there by myself and celebrate your day. Same with your family. Same with the strangers. What's wrong with you? Nothing. What's wrong with you? I wouldn't really. I'm not one to go back at somebody depending on how it was proposed, but maybe that'll make you feel better. Just going right back and being straightforward. And then, of course, your work associates. Sometimes, it's appropriate to say it's none of your business, really, because you want to be professional and you can move on or walk away from the situation. Oh, and one other piece I think is really important, actually, before you even have your mantra ready, is that you really do your little self-examination and be honest with yourself so that when you're responding to these people, you're genuine and it's real and it's coming from you and your heart. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the greatest way to be.
Well, and what you're saying is just it's okay to admit that yeah, I do wish I had somebody, but it hasn't happened yet. So to where you're being vulnerable without being pathetic.
Right. And it's like, yeah, I think you need to just take the shame out of it all. Like there is no shame in it. You know what? I think my number one thing to walk away with is, prepare that date for yourself and really enjoy life as is, where you are right now. Yes, there's hope for all of us.
I love that. Great, great advice. Again, the book is Geraldina and the Compass Rose. We'll link to it. We'll have it here in our show notes. Do pick it up. Great read. Good present, maybe for some of your single friends. And I look forward to having you back soon on Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silka. As always, love being here.
Please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right here. And if there's a topic that you'd like to have us cover, please visit our website, secondact.tv. There's a little red suggestion box in the upper right-hand corner of our site. Just click on that, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.